New polling by CNN shows Senator Bernie Sanders taking the lead in New Hampshire, and several other candidates are taking quite a tumble.
We're back with Max Burns, Democratic strategist and contributor at the Daily Beast, and also Philip Wegman, national political reporter for Real Clear Politics. Gentlemen, this was a very interesting poll that shows a fair amount of shakeup in the state of New Hampshire. We've covered already in the show Bernie Sanders taking the lead, which is significant. He seems to have gotten a bump post-debate. I mean, these post-heart attack weeks have actually been some of the best of his campaign, which is interesting. But at the same time, Philip, this is what I want to ask you about. Biden falling off 9 points.
Yeah, this shows the difference between the national picture and the state-by-state picture. If you're only going by national aggregate polls, you get a very different perspective. It's valuable, clearly, but when you zero in on the state itself, it shows that those electorates are very much different than their neighbors. And I think that, what are we, 105 days out at this point, or around that, this is a moment for Joe Biden either to fix things or fall behind in New Hampshire and focus on a different state, because this is getting to be brutal.
Yeah, I mean, minus 9 points in New Hampshire is a complete disaster.
It's month over month.
And Max, what we've been told, or basically what we've heard from a lot of Biden circuits, inside the reporters who cover the Biden campaign, is that their strategy currently is we're going to lose Iowa, we're going to lose New Hampshire, we're going to lose Nevada, and somehow the South Carolina firewall is going to remain intact. I just don't buy it. I don't think that the South Carolina voters are going to stick with him with such lackluster showings in the first 3 primary states.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that 2 months ago Joe Biden was building himself as the inevitable candidate.
Right.
I mean, if Joe Biden is the front runner, he should start running in the front somewhere. The challenge with Joe Biden is that the more voters see of people like Elizabeth Warren, the more they like her. She's consistently gained. The more they see Joe Biden, the more they like Elizabeth Warren. There's just doesn't seem to be this momentum for Joe Biden. And in a race that has this many strong candidates, saying that you're going to concede the first 3 or even 4 races is suicide. It says terrible things about your strength in a general election.
Absolutely. Yeah, New York Times has a whole piece this morning about how much trouble he has articulating himself clearly, both on the debate stage and on the campaign trail. I mean, he's not campaigning that much to start with, but then apparently when he does show up, his crowds are small and the results are fairly lackluster.
Well, I think this shows that this is the candidate that we've always known. I think it's easy for reporters and journalists who think that history started in 2016 to forget, but Joe Biden has always been a gaffe machine. Joe Biden has never been really great on the stump. Joe Biden's very good at connecting with individual voters, but you have to connect with a lot of individual voters one-on-one, and it's just impossible. At some point, you're going to have a broad message that's going to work on television, that's going to work on the debates, and right now, Joe Biden, other people are eating his lunch.
Yeah, I mean, all politics is national now, and he really, it's not, he's from a bygone era, we'll just say that. And the other thing that has really jumped out at me in this poll, Andrew Yang, Tulsi Gabbard, Amy Klobuchar, all sitting at 5% in the state of New Hampshire. Kamala Harris at just 3%. She's down 6 points in this poll. Not so top tier anymore, getting beaten by the candidate who she once brushed off as a fringe on the stage. I mean, Phil, I've talked about it here all the time. I think she just has no message. There's no reason to vote for her in this campaign. She has not been able to she basically has not been able to differentiate herself whatsoever in the field.
And Kamala Harris is a very talented politician.
When she wants to be.
When she wants to be. She's able to deliver her lines, to be likable, to be quick on her feet. But this is a policy problem. She's changed her plans on occasion, going back and forth. I don't think that voters liked her brushing off other candidates. I don't think other voters liked seeing her sort of see herself as inevitable. And we see it down 6 points already this quickly. At this point, if she continues along this path, she'll be an also-ran.
What do you think, Max?
Kamala Harris, in a lot of ways, is the most difficult case here because she is so talented as a candidate. She came out with the branding of prosecuting the case against Donald Trump, which I thought was smart. She had that great opening in June against Joe Biden, but it's really 1 step forward and 2 steps back. And if you can't clearly identify your constituency in this race, then you're really talking to nobody.
And I
Yeah, I
think
think you're
people
right.
just don't care about a slick politician anymore. It's
Yeah.
not what they're looking for, you know? Like, we've been there, done that. They want someone who they know where they're going to stand and that they're authentic. I also thought it was very interesting after the whole, like, Hillary Clinton, Tulsi Gabbard's a Russian asset thing. This is apparently only inured to Tulsi's benefit, Phil.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
got 4 points.
Well, I
This was a qualifying poll, too,
Yeah.
by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so she's got one qualifying poll towards December and also one for the next debate. So, I mean, this was incredibly helpful for her. Thanks, Hillary.
So Tulsi Gabbard needs to say thank you publicly to Hillary Clinton. I think that all of us are still sort of scratching our heads. Why did Hillary Clinton think that it was necessary or even good for her to weigh in and attack Tulsi Gabbard? Clearly, it didn't work. But if you're Tulsi's folks, you got to be like waving red meat in front of Hillary Clinton at this point. You want her to attack again.
Let's get her chomping at the bit again, right, Max? What do you think?
I just have this horrible feeling
Yeah.
that Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard, because they weren't dismissed early on, are going to end up like a Donald Trump situation, and they'll be hanging around for months. I think.
I don't have a horrible feeling
Yeah,
about
I
that.
like
have a good feeling about that. I mean, look, what you can say about them, contrary to Kamala Harris and Pete and some of these other people that we've talked about, is you actually know what they think. I mean, they actually have principled positions that are different from the field. So I like the variety of having them out there making the case, and
Well,
I like seeing them rise.
Especially on the stage, right? Like
Right.
it's for Tulsi Gabbard to be on this. It's always just good to have somebody who's good on foreign policy and
Absolutely.
willing to challenge the
Absolutely.
consensus of people on the stage in the debates.
And to your point,
Yeah.
what did these two candidates deliver at the last debate?
Right.
Andrew Yang forces a substantive
That's right.
debate about automation and UBI. And you know what? There were a lot of candidates who were up there who weren't prepared to talk about automation that way.
Right.
Elizabeth Warren dismissed it out of hand.
Yeah.
And then what did Tulsi Gabbard do? Tulsi Gabbard, by her presence, led to the most substantive discussion on foreign policy. So maybe they're not going to get the nod. Maybe they're not going to get to the promised land. But I think that, they will probably make the party have discussions that will make them stronger.
Well, and Tulsi is the predominant reason that Kamala Harris now sits at 3%.
Right. Very
I
much
mean,
so.
at the second, what was that? The second debate. She just took her down, and she's never recovered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to Andrew Yang's credit, I mean, he's raised $10 million last
Yeah.
quarter in the face of a media blackout. So he's a legitimate candidate in that sense.
Maybe
Yeah,
he's going to outrace Biden this quarter.
I wouldn't be surprised. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Really
Great to see you
appreciate it.
both.
Tomorrow on Rising, YouTuber Michael Brooks. He joins us to discuss the latest happenings in Washington. And we're also breaking down the difference between Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren with him.
Plus, Team Rising will be here in the house. As always, like, share, and subscribe to us on all the channels, especially our YouTube. Go ahead and get after it now. And remember to send us your questions for Rising Q's on Twitter, Instagram, and in the comments of any of our videos. We'll find them there as well. You can ask us about pretty much anything you want. Just tag it with the hashtag Rising Q's. Have a great Wednesday, everyone. We'll see you
guys
back here tomorrow.